Hey there, my name is Haley and I am the pattern designer here at Seamwork. And today I'm going to take you on a tour of my fabric stash. So let's jump in and talk about fabric, which happens to be one of my favorite things to talk about. So on a previous video, I gave you a little tour of my sewing room. A bunch of the teammates at Seamwork did. And I talked a little bit about my system there, but I'll go more in depth today. So I live in a fairly small home. I work from home. My husband works from home. Needless to say, it is pretty tightly packed. So for that reason, the majority of my fabric stash actually lives out in my garage, which is not ideal. I have big Rubbermaid drawers that protect my fabric, but I mean, ideally, I would not like to have it out in the garage, but you know, it is kind of what it is at this point. I have 3 sets of drawers. Each set has 3 drawers, and I have my fabric divided up into wovens. The top drawer is the lightest, and the bottom drawer is the heaviest. I find that this way, I have a rough idea of where to look when I'm looking for a fabric. And then I have my knit drawer, and then my 3rd set of drawers is kind of my overflow. That is where I keep some of my scraps that are big enough that I think I might want to make a quilt with, or make something for my daughter. I also have some large pieces of fabric or specialty fabrics that I like to fold more flat, unlike rolled up bundles like I have here. This is how I store most of my fabric. Other than that, I have a big bin where I keep my smaller scraps, things that I think I'll make, maybe bias tape or pockets, things like that, or will eventually get stuffed into like a pillow or an ottoman in the future. So that is kind of my system for fabric. As my stash grows and condenses, it kind of ebbs and flows. It's a constant project to keep my fabric in order. I imagine it might be the same way for other people, but that is my current state of mustache. All right, so next I am going to show you some individual fabrics that I have in my stash. First up, I am going to show you one of my favorite cuts of fabric, which is this really amazing Nani Iro double gauze. I'll unroll it for you so you can really admire it. First of all, it's double gauze, so it's like extremely soft and drapey and lovely, but also, I mean, just check out how cool this print is. I have a good amount of it. I think I have almost 4 yards, but I'm always afraid to cut into it. It's so cool. So it has not been turned into anything yet. I do think something like a mica caftan would be really cool just to show off the big print. Mica has those big, huge panels in it, so it's really good for large scale prints like that. Next, I want to show you the fabric I've had in my stash the longest. So this is actually in the process of becoming something finally. So it is a quilting cotton. I bought it when I had first started sewing in college, and it has these really pretty cute little mermaids on it. And when I bought it, I didn't intend to make a garment out of it, but I was like, oh, it's so cute. Someday I'm gonna have a daughter and I'm gonna make her a blanket out of it. And you know what? I have a daughter now, and I'm gonna make her a blanket out of it, which is cool because that was, it was quite a while ago, probably like maybe 14 years ago. It was a while ago, but it's becoming a blanket finally. How often do you have something in your stash that like you have a plan for, it sits around for over a decade, and then you finally execute on the actual plan? For me, that doesn't happen very often. Next up, I'm going to show you The fabric I'm going to be sewing with next, this is a kind of a fine weave twill fabric. It's cotton, has a little bit of spandex in it. I think I'm going to make some Elizabeth Suzanne Clyde pants. It's nice and lightweight, so I think it'll be really good for the springtime. I made a Clyde jumpsuit recently and it's awesome. So I'm excited to make some pants. All right, next up, the fabric that I am most afraid to cut into is this is a silk rayon velvet. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. When I was in college, I made a dress for a fashion show out of this fabric, and I have a bunch of it left over, and I've always intended to like make something special for myself to like commemorate that like memory and moment in my life. And I have been out of college for a while and I still haven't made anything out of it. I think just like a really beautiful classic dress that I'll never want to get rid of is probably the ticket, but I still have not done it. Next, I'm going to show you a fabric I kind of regret buying. This is a jersey knit. That's my cat yelling in the background. I went through a phase where I was like really into making pajamas and loungewear, and I bought this. This was like an end of bolt. I think there's only like 1.5 yards, but I bought it because it was a good deal, not because it was necessarily there's the cat, not necessarily because it's really my style, but I've been meaning to just like knock out some quick leggings for my daughter, so that's probably what this is destined to become. It's a cool fabric. It's just not something I would necessarily wear for myself. Fabrics that I inherited. This one wasn't, I didn't inherit necessarily. It was a gift from my friend Christine. It's a vintage fabric. Look how cool that is. She just knows me so well. She knows the colors I like. I think it's so cool. It makes me think of like, it's a 1960s fabric. It kind of makes me think of like something that, like how one of those vintage tiki inspired dresses would be made out of. I personally think it would be like a really cool quince to wear to the beach, to the pool over a swimsuit. But I haven't gotten around, all of my fabrics, I haven't gotten around to sewing something out of it yet. It's true, I have not. Another fabric, not really a fabric, but I don't have a lot of sewers in my family. My only family member who sews is my Auntie Karen. She's a really awesome quilter, but she sent me this box of really cool vintage trims a few years back, and I'll just show you a few of them. How cute. Like, how cute would that be on like a neckline or something? So many cute little, this little like tiny like crocheted rickrack thing. These little tiny pom-poms. Oh my gosh. They're so cute. And then there's also like a ton of cotton lace. I think that it'd be really cool to incorporate this into a kind of like Edwardian type blouse. Again, haven't gotten around to it. I mean, there's just so much stuff just like this. I think I just need to give it all a good bath, a soak, and make like a really badass kind of vintage inspired blouse, probably a folkwear pattern or something like that. I think would be really, really cool. So those are some kind of standout fabrics in my stash. I have a ton of fabric though. So those are just a few to give you kind of a taste. There's definitely some loud prints mixed with like lots of staple fabrics that I know I'm always gonna love, and then really fun special fabric that I'm afraid to cut into. So there you have it. That is my stash in a nutshell. I'm curious to hear from you guys and how you guys organize your stash, especially people like me who have to store their stash in a garage or a basement or another kind of not ideal condition. How do you work with that? Do you have any hot tips for me? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing that helps other people like you who really like sewing and all things about sewing to find this channel. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you next time.